Good Sunday evening, everybody. That's right, today is Sunday. Happy Easter to one and all. Hope you all had a wonderful day. We're going to close out or start your week, depending on how you look at it, the right way, right here on Corner to Corner. We're glad to have you. It's me, Stan Grubb, and the Triple Threat is in the house. We are the true triple threat of internet wrestling, radio, that is. Rob Hefner, what's going on?
What's up? Hey, folks, how you doing? Hope everybody had a good family day and now is ready to get down to some business.
And, of course, the mastermind, the doctor is in. Brian Taylor, what's up?
What's going on? And how am I supposed to follow that?
What, with the mastermind?
No, the Rob. How am I supposed to follow Rob?
I mean, if you want, from now on, I'll go to you first and then Rob. I mean, but
yeah,
then
Rob puts so much into it. You know what I'm saying? I just can't follow him.
He knows how to really introduce himself. He knows how to bring it.
You know what it is? It's his up with people training. That's what it is.
But see, if we talk about things, then Brian should be the one that goes last since he is sitting right now at the beach.
Yes.
True. He is on location from the beach.
And if you all out there in Radio Land want to know something weird, here it is. Brian is on location at the beach. I am in parts unknown. But then Stan is at location at Brian's house.
Party at Brian's. Party at Brian's. Put that stripper down. I mean, whoa, hey, how's it going?
Something I can end this
Whoa, hello.
Stan is in the glass bubble.
It's been an exciting week. Thursday was a magical day, a super day, if you will. The Triple Threat was in the house in the movie theater to see the one, the only Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. And I have to tell you, I think that the joke is really on every single last critic that thought that they were going to pan this movie out as a bomb. But apparently it blew up in their face because $424 million later, Dawn of Justice reigns supreme in the box office. What a movie.
And that's just the opening weekend.
That's right.
I think they touted it as the highest grossing comic book movie opening weekend ever.
Of all time, that's correct.
Of all time.
Of all the times, to quote Santino.
The great Santino. I miss Santino. He was fun.
Nobody must quote Santino.
Summon him again.
You know, speaking of somebody whose career started so well, only to have him turn into one of the best.
Are we talking to Stan again?
Stop it.
Come on. And Easter's over. The war is on.
Those playing the drinking game, that was at 9:05 that you had to take your first drink.
These guys are going to be hammered 15 minutes in.
That's what we ought to do. Maybe next time we'll do the drinking game. You got to drink when anybody insults Stan.
I will say that the possibility of doing a drunken episode of Corner to Corner would really be hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
We'd have to plan it out, of course, but I think it would be hilarious.
What do you mean plan it out? Let the thing just go natural.
Well, I don't mean to say that we put it in a script, because that ain't going to happen. What I'm saying is we make sure people have the appropriate rides or lodging. Heck, you know what? Legends Fest. We might be able to pull something off like that at Legends Fest.
Oh, that would be... no, we'd probably get kicked out.
Well, if we have the right party host, it might be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, bring no disrespect to my man Eddie.
We'll be in Flair Country. I mean, maybe the Nature Boy will be in the house.
Woo! That would be fun.
Just make sure we don't do it when we're on Eddie's time.
Exactly. Because we would not want to disgrace the network that is Beyond Ringside. We would never want to do that.
And ProWrestlingRadio.net.
Correct. Corner-to-corner-wrestling.com.
Available on Amazon.
And Google.
And if you want to know what else is on the channel, go to the internet.
The
Who's
intranet.
the little kid in the background? Is that Rob? Is that your kids?
What?
Is that your kid in the background? Sounds like Anna or something.
Well, Anna did run in, and she had to make sure that I told Brian that she loved him.
Oh, and that's sweet.
Collective
Yeah.
awe moment.
Everybody loves me.
Well, she is 5, so.
So, guys, without doing spoilers, because we don't want to ruin it for those that haven't seen it, I want to get your opinions. And remember, we're trying to keep it spoiler-free. Ben Affleck as Batman.
Well, I thought that I thought that when Green Lantern came in and attacked, it was really good. That especially when they had Zoltron and Thor take it.
Zoltron. How about the heart-wrenching moment when Han Solo died? Broke my heart.
And now, wait a second. There could still be somebody that doesn't know that Han Solo died. So, congratulations.
Sorry.
And since we've just spoiled the spoiler moment, let me just go on and say that Yosemite Sam loses his mustache. Gone. It's gone. No more Yosemite Sam's mustache. So take that, Dumbledore dies at the end of book 6.
Dumbledore.
And so does Dobie.
I thought that Ben Affleck's job as Batman and Bruce Wayne really played off well, and it really did the Dark Knight justice. But I did that.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. I do agree. I do think he was size comparison to the Dark Knight in the comic book. He sized up pretty well as far as his shoulders and stuff like that. So I think he did a job.
Eddie's a little upset, distraught that Yosemite Sam was disgraced. It's okay, Eddie.
Yeah, that's all right.
When it grows back,
Wait till
it's going to be completely gray, though.
Well, wait till he finds out how Elmer Fudd got his name.
Rob, what'd you think of Ben Affleck as Batman?
I thought Batman was. I thought he did a good job. I mean,
don't heckle. Don't heckle. Come on, be nice. And there's your other drink, because now Brian is attacking Rob.
I didn't attack him. I just shut him down.
It's all right.
Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead, Rob. I'll stop.
No, we all want to hear about you, Brian. You go ahead and talk.
Well, if you say, I thought Wonder Woman was great. Well, Gal Gadot, I thought it was very well played. So, and she's got actually an interesting past as far as some of her career before the movies. So, you should check that out. And she's definitely got
for a moment while I go to Google.
I believe she had something to do in the military as far as training or something.
Yes. Yeah, she was in the Israeli military. Looking it up right now on our fabulous Bible known as Wikipedia. Military service. From the age of 18, Gadot served for 2 years as an enlisted soldier for the Israeli Defense Forces.
So I think she very well has the warrior mentality down. And this is the first superhero movie that I've actually seen somebody cry at, too. So that was fantastic. One of them sissy Superman fans.
It was the first superhero movie I've seen that somebody fell asleep and started snoring.
Oh my!
He started.
There was a guy sitting in the row in front of us, and he was out cold before they had even finished the opening credits. It was loud. It was obnoxious snoring. He should be ashamed of himself.
So if you're listening, boo on you.
Yeah, right. We know you're in Culpeper. We can hear you breathing still.
You're probably still asleep in the theater.
I don't think anybody did bother to wake that guy up.
Well, he did have a friend, so you would think the friend would have nudged him and be like, hey, bud.
His friend was too busy being on Facebook.
Yeah, I noticed an abundance of people on their phones while the movie was going. How are you supposed to enjoy a movie when you're just filling on your phone?
I don't know, Stan. How can you?
I wasn't on my phone during the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the new age.
I know that song.
Yeah, that's a good song.
It is a good song.
All right, so what else?
Jesse Eisenberg, great as Lex Luthor. Totally different spin on Luthor than I expected, but it was very good.
Mm-hmm. I liked him better when he lost his hair. Oh, was that a spoiler? Dang it.
Well, Luther's been bald in every movie.
Well, yeah, but he had hair to begin with. Might have been somebody, because people thought he was not cast correctly.
Well, I mean, if you remember, Gene Hackman had hair pretty much the entire run until, what, Superman 3? Superman 4?
Actually, he was revealed to have pulled off the wig.
Yeah, in Superman 2, I think.
That's right. Thank you. Sorry. Man, that's...
Which those were playing on Sci-Fi today, by the way.
Sweet. Capitalize on that dollar.
Yeah,
Coming
I
up
don't know what
next,
you're
Sharknado.
sweeting for there, Stan. I got the whole collection in the DVD cases there.
Well, maybe I'll just turn them on.
Don't you touch them.
Hey, what is this midget? Whoa, Brian, what do you got in here?
I don't know where your dirty little fingers have been.
Oh, no, now you do. Remember, you sleep, young man.
That's hateful. The other thing, too, that strikes me as a little funny about all this is all these critics that are so are outraged about a certain act that Batman might pull off. As in, like, kill somebody, let somebody die. You go back to Batman 1989, pretty sure he lets the Joker fall off of a helicopter attached to a cement gargoyle. It's been done before. Stop whining about it.
Then when he blows up Acme Chemicals, I mean, I'm pretty sure that nobody was in the building. Oh, wait, no, there were a lot of people in the building because there's an entire factory. I mean, there's that. You know, he does blow up an entire factory.
Well, you know, if you're going to profess to be a critic, you should at least have a little bit of knowledge in what you're doing. So, oh my God, Batman kills. Oh my God. I can't go see the movie now.
Yeah, it's
Crazy.
amazing to me that the critics make the money they do for just having such a pivotal role in whether or not a movie is successful. And in this case, they released reviews before the movie officially debuted, and yet now what do? All these reviews, all these horrible things they said about the movie, and now $424 million later, not a single one of them comes out that goes, well, I guess maybe I was wrong.
Oh, they're never going to admit they're wrong. So, never.
Never!
Yeah, just like me, I'll never admit that Roman Reigns is a quality wrestler. It's just
Now-
not
Well,
happening.
you're stating a fact on that one.
Wow. Now, if you're here's a curious thing. Now, myself, Rob, and Brian all play WWE Supercard. We expect our royalty checks in the mail anytime now. We play it pretty often, and this week is WrestleMania week for them, so they're doing flash events, different mini games. So right now there's a People's Champion it's Triple H versus Roman Reigns, and Reigns is at 1.8 million wins, whereas Triple H is still at 920,000. That's an interesting statistic there.
Well, it's because Triple H's fans were working or with family. They'll play later.
Roman Reigns fans are at the corner of the McDonald's. Is that what you're saying? Excuse me, I have to play the game. You can't have your Happy Meal right now.
Sorry, but think about it. With the reaction on Raw, where he's like, they did that vignette thing of, oh my God, look, he's standing behind the opening garage door in history. And then he's going to, at that time, there was no way for Triple H to say, oh, let's lock the door to the Tahoe. No. But then did you hear the crowd reaction after it was over?
Yeah, they booed. They were booing really loud. Really loud.
With a guy you're pushing for the main event, and they're booing him already. Hello. What do I know?
Yeah. I don't know what they're going to do. So I think I hope they don't do something stupid, but something tells me they're going to do something stupid.
I can't see Roman Reigns turning the crowd apart. Well, I'm sorry, Rob, what's that?
Nothing. I'm not important. Go ahead. You're the showrunner.
No. Wow. And, okay, take another drink.
Stands in the number one seat. We have to bow at his awesomeness.
Wow. Well, I mean, if you want to bow, it's okay. You can curtsy, Rob. That might be difficult.
I hear a lot of, spite in his voice tonight.
A little bitterness. Did the Easter Bunny not bring you your favorite Roman Reigns t-shirt? I mean, what's going on, buddy?
Yeah, maybe he didn't get no chocolate or nothing.
Cadbury egg was filled with sand?
Wow.
I was hoping for my Big Boss Man t-shirt, but it didn't come in.
Aha. Well, maybe you ought to take a trip down to Cobb County, Georgia.
He's on fire. That's funny. That was a good one, Stan.
Thank you. Thank you
It
very
really
much.
was. Mm-hmm.
By the way, I did...
That was 9:19. 9:19, and Stan finally had a comeback.
Well, I am getting faster. I think it was 10 o'clock last week.
No, it was probably like 10:30.
You might be right. You might be right.
And it wasn't casting. It was trying to break.
So, WWE was in Richmond this weekend, and reports coming out of the Richmond show was that The Miz may have sustained a leg injury. Goes on Twitter today stating that he's fine. However, got to remember that The Miz is supposed to be in the ladder match for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. Yet another guy injured. Luke Harper, out for 3 to 5 months with a knee injury. Man, the hits just keep on coming for WWE's injury roster.
Well, I don't think... go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead, sir.
No, you go ahead. No, do it. You go ahead.
No,
Rob must be mad.
No, I was saying that it's not like Miz would be... Oh, go ahead, Brian.
See? You hear that?
And now Mrs. Bryan makes her official debut. Last week was Mrs. Rob. This week is Mrs. Bryan. And I don't have Mrs. Okay.
Mr. Stan will be making...
Oh, hey. Put that down.
No, I was like, I mean, the Miz's injury really doesn't affect, I don't think, WrestleMania too much, since it's going to be one of those hopeless ladder matches anyway, where 2 people are in the ring, and then they're all out of the ring, and then 2 people in the ring, and then one lays down and waits till the other person gets to the 3rd rung from the top, and then miraculously heals and stops him from touching the belt.
The lineup for the Intercontinental title is 5 guys. That's a messy ladder match, even with Money in the Bank.
Well, I mean, it's just setting it up for that same old. You're going to have Dolph Ziggler in there, and I imagine Dolph is going to carry the match with Kevin Owens, and then you'll have Sami Zayn somehow. I think Sami Zayn's going to come out on top.
That's a heck of a WrestleMania debut for Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens, to be honest. But that's a great debut for Zayn.
Yeah, something tells me Owens doesn't walk out of there with the title. I mean, I could either see Ziggler or Zayn get it. So that way, Owens can start to climb up the ladder and be put more in the main event spotlight.
Well, there's a lot of reports going on out there that Kevin Owens was very disappointed that he wasn't given his match against Brock Lesnar, that he apparently had been campaigning for since the Royal Rumble.
Oof. Why would you want to face Brock Lesnar?
Voluntarily.
Yeah, really.
I think that's where the money's at. I mean, your money match is a Brock Lesnar match.
Just ask Luke Harper.
Yeah, I understand that, but Brock is now the king of the suplex, and you're going to have to take a lot of them. So.
Yeah.
The other interesting part of WrestleMania is apparently the tag team titles are not going to be defended at WrestleMania.
Ouch. Why? They're the champs. They should have the say in whether they defend them or not.
Going report is that it would be the New Day versus League of Nations in a 6-man tag.
I mean, that's what Bootios is all about. The more Bootios you eat, the more pull you get in the back, and why should they have to defend it? They haven't done it for the last year.
I mean, I think they should defend it the old way that Demolition used to, And you have two people, 3 legs. Let's do a 6-man tag match, but then 2 of them are up on their apron at a time. Anyone can pin anyone. Boom. Finally put the advantage into the New Day's hands, but hey, what would be a WWE pay-per-view with actually all their titles being defended?
Well, here's another question for you: does the U.S. title, does that title defense even make the card?
Pre-show.
Pre-show. Well, USA Network's going to be broadcasting the Andre the Giant Battle Royal during the pre-show.
I think the Battle Royal should be on the main show, personally.
I agree.
I mean, it would bring more credibility to the Battle Royal.
Well, didn't they make a big deal of it last year? Wasn't last year the first year?
WrestleMania 30 was the first year. That was when Cesaro won. Last year was Big Show winning. This year, if Bray Wyatt's healthy enough, my prediction would be that Bray Wyatt wins it.
Yeah, so Bray is relegated to the pre-show. Nice.
I say Kane wins it.
There's been a lot of rumbling that Kane is, can you believe this, getting primed for yet another main event run.
Well, I think with the amount of injuries you probably have and the fact that they don't want to push certain talent, you don't have much else to go with.
Well, and I think also you got Kane as like your superstar in a glass case, supposedly.
Right.
He's the one that's in the back doing all the agent stuff, but he's also the closest one that's back there that still can pull it out on a pair of tights and head out there. You can't pull Sergeant Slaughter anymore. Tito Santana can't go.
Wow. Got a throwback there. Tito Santana reference. It'd be interesting to see if maybe Seth Rollins is healthy enough to come back early, like they've been saying. There's a rumor that Cena is going to have an appearance at Mania, but right now they're not commenting. They're tightening up all of the leaks, so to speak, because as they get closer to Mania, they're going to want to make sure they can have more stops to pull out if they have to. But the going rumor is that Cena will be at WrestleMania in one capacity or another. Maybe not in an official match, but supposedly he's healthy.
Well, and so will The Rock, won't he?
The Rock is supposed to have a role. Steve Austin is supposed to have a role. And John Cena has just recently started talking about being at Mania. So I think that The Rock will have a role to play with Triple H, because apparently they wanted to do Triple H and The Rock one more time. Which, there you go, Brian. There's your shenanigans for Roman Reigns.
Shenanigans. Nice. Yeah, With all these injuries, this is not shaping up to be one of the bigger WrestleManias.
It's going to
be. It had potential. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's going to be a tough card to pull off. It really will be. I'm not sure how they will actually be able to deliver, in this scenario. I really don't. With so many guys out, with so many guys that aren't prepared. I mean, even if you rolled out, and we'll talk more about this going forward. But even if you roll out the Bullet Club, is that enough to put a rescue, so to speak, for WrestleMania? Is that a big enough event?
No, because I mean I don't even know how you would use them at this point. As far as what match to get involved with. So I mean I just don't see it. I don't see it. I am now very interested in the female division with Emma returning. I guess she returned on a SmackDown to the main roster. Was that it?
Yeah, she joined. I guess she's part of Team Bad now.
Yeah, and of course that now makes them 4 with Lana being the manager and Tamina being the heavy. So,
no pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended. So
it's going to be an interesting layout. How they put this card together for Mania, what they do in setting it up, how they deliver, really is going to be a difficult card to really deliver on all fronts. I think we're going to have some moments where we're like, why is this on the show? And then we're going to be like, oh yeah, there is no one else. So it's disappointing to say the least. I mean, not to mention Cesaro's still out. I mean, there's so many guys out that now, for me, I'm starting to forget some of these guys that are out for injury because they've been out for so long. Mm-hmm. So, you know what, guys? We are coming up on our first break of the evening. When we come back, of course, we'll continue to roll through some of the information we've been getting for WrestleMania, talk a little bit more about some of the happenings through the wrestling world, and who knows what else. We'll be right here back on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network, on corner-to-cornerwrestling.com, beyondringside.com, prowrestlingradio.net, and all points in between. Stick with us, folks. We'll be right back.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on beyondringside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
The To Be Determined show live Wednesday nights, 9 Central Standard Time. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, the Grand Design, Clyde Braddock, and the Magic City Runner, Fast Eddie Lane, as we take you to the edge of uncensored. Yes, we go uncensored, so make sure you have your earmuffs. Ask your parents, for those of you that are a little young, maybe under 18, but make sure if you have any heart conditions or any mental defects, please listen, because they may take effect right here, live, every Wednesday night, 9 Central Standard Time. Beyond Ringside Radio Network, beyondringside.com.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motormouth, Fast Eddie Lane, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on beyondringside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Corner Radio, right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Good to have everybody. Hope you've had a great Easter. Thanks for checking us out. When we left you, we were talking about WrestleMania and how difficult it's going to be for them to put together really an all-out kind of show like they normally do, especially with the injury bug that they've been dealing with, focusing really on who could be on the card, who's not going to be on the card, or at least by our guesstimates. It's a concern. It's got to be for Vince and for the creative team as to what they do going forward with this. Does this change their plans with their roster going forward, or do they continue at the level that they've been?
I don't think it'll change plans after WrestleMania. Because I've seen speculation that after WrestleMania, that's it for Stephanie and Triple H for a while. So I think those plans are set. It's just getting to WrestleMania that you have to worry about.
And of course, this coming Monday night's the go-home show. Rob, where do you think they go with this after Mania? Are they able to reconvene, get it right back on track, or are they going to have to change their plans, you think?
I kind of don't think they know what their plans are. I mean, with the injuries of their talent and with their consistency of trying to keep with going with Roman Reigns, it just doesn't understand where things are going. I think right now in the boardroom they're kind of worried because this is the biggest venue they've done since the Pontiac Silverdome in WrestleMania 6. So, I mean, granted they went back to the Sky Dome, so yes, for those history buffs. But, I saw an interview this morning with Stephanie McMahon and Jerry Jones' daughter, and they were saying, well, that we expect to sell this place out. AT&T Stadium in Dallas, they're going to sell it out, and it's going to break the attendance record. With the current product, I would be scared.
It's got to be hard to sit and look through all of the different challenges for putting together a show like this, but also all the different challenges looking into your forward plans. Because as far as we know right now, Seth Rollins, he returns anytime soon. It's going to be May or June. Cena isn't scheduled to be back until the earliest April, maybe May. And then, of course, we've got Cesaro, who may be another month or two behind. Luke Harper now out for 3 to 5 months. I mean, there's a lot of guys that haven't been able to make a return. Randy Orton, every time I see a report on Randy Orton, his return timetable has been upped. In other words, putting him further out. So you don't have a lot of room to really screw up anymore. You've got to make sure that every move you make is a calculated risk. Roman Reigns isn't going to fly. I mean, I even if he gets the title at Mania, I just don't see it lasting long. I think they're going to ultimately close the door on that. But in doing so, is it Dean Ambrose's turn? I mean, who steps up as the major heel? Because if it's not Bray Wyatt, which we haven't really seen them indicate any kind of faith in him, who could it possibly be?
I mean, I think you see Dean turn at WrestleMania, possibly either getting him the belt or costing him the belt so Triple H wins. And then, they do that whole best friend thing against each other. You cost me my shot. You're jealous of me, blah, blah, blah. But to me, honestly, this is the first WrestleMania in years where we're a week out and there's no solid card. In years past, we're a month out and you have the cards already set. But this one, there's no, the world title, but what about the U.S. title? And I just learned today that the tag titles aren't going to be defended. I mean, what's next? The Divas match is going to happen on SmackDown?
I mean, maybe they bring up more of their NXT roster. Maybe they have a NXT title match where Finn Balor defends. Be a pretty difficult thing to pull off with the NXT title because the day before WrestleMania, 2 days before WrestleMania, Finn Balor is scheduled to defend against Samoa Joe. So I mean, we've got NXT Takeover coming up on that Friday, which most likely will be the show to beat. I can't see WrestleMania topping, as far as the action in the ring and the quality of each match, topping NXT's Takeover event.
Well, and then my thing is, if you take WrestleMania, the WWE's flagship, their Super Bowl, and you start putting NXT matches on it, you're sending the message to the WWE universe that your roster is not strong enough to carry your main show. Because NXT shouldn't have to support the WWE on pay-per-views. As we saw at, what was it? Roadblock, Rest Stop, Truck Stop, one of them.
Truck Stop. Welcome to WWE Truck Stop, where some big hairy man may hit you up at the bathroom.
Ascertaining.
What? Nothing, Ryan? Nothing?
Eventually, Stan's going to ask for royalties on that. And y'all are going to have to pay.
Well, technically, wouldn't it be Vince?
No.
Didn't he write that movie?
Cocaine binge number 512 for Vince McMahon. Hey, let's do No Holds Barred, Hulk. What do you think?
Let's take a fan favorite wrestler and a narcissistic executive.
Yeah, right. I wonder who this could be about. It's the story of our life, Hulkster. What do you think, pal?
It was the best American drama until Thunder in Paradise.
Oh, not Thunder in Paradise. Oh, boy.
Let's forget Suburban Commando.
What about...
Three Ninjas.
yeah, right.
Santa with muscles.
Mr. Nanny.
Hey, now, I'm just kidding. I can't even. Hogan doesn't care right now. Hogan's got $100 and what million?
$140 million now. Good for him, by the way.
And for the fourth week in a row, you've been mentioned on our podcast, so we accept some royalties from that $140 million, Mr. Hogan. Thank you.
Exactly. We'll take cash. We'll take a check. I'll tell you what. We'll take cash.
This segment was brought to you by Hogan's Beach Shop in Clearwater, Florida. Please send us a check.
It's worth the trip.
Y'all are redonkulous.
Hey, I'm just trying to get us paid, brother.
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 Now you done ripped him off, so now you got to pay him.
Crap. He's got enough money. He won't miss a few million. Well, at least Linda hasn't hit him up yet.
Yeah. I mean, I've been looking at the production chat, and that's exactly what I was thinking, where Eddie was saying that Vince McMahon won't allow NXT to be on Mania's card. I mean, because it's the WWE show. You know, they'll throw some other matches together that make no sense whatsoever. I think you'll see Devon and Bubba Ray in there against somebody.
I would guess against the Usos.
I mean, you'll see them in a Uso, probably a tables match, even though they're about to save the tables.
Does it seem a little weird to have the Dudleys, like, save the tables routine, since it was the New Day that started that?
To me, it seems like they don't know what to do with them. You know, like, you bring back one of the icon tag teams of a generation in WWE, the crowd just freaks out. You throw them right up against the tag team champs, but then you don't give them the belt. You don't drop the belt to the Dudleys, and then all of a sudden, in typical WWE fashion, they're now curtain jerkers with no credible storyline.
Maybe it's the TNA stigma.
I just don't think they're high on. They haven't been high on tag teams in the last 10, 15 years, probably. I think that's the issue. They have them. They just don't use a tag team properly. So I think that's the problem with the tag teams on the WWE.
It seems right now that then the obvious goal would be to get the NXT tag teams up to the main roster, but you run a risk when you do that of depleting your NXT tag roster just to help the main roster. And it's no longer a feeder system. All points have indicated this. I mean, whether it's Vince McMahon or whether it's Triple H, they've all indicated that it's not a feeder system anymore. It's its own brand. So if you deplete the one brand to help the other, how do you bring it back up to speed?
I don't think they have a problem getting some fresh talent in NXT, especially now. To me now it's how do I put this properly? It's almost like in baseball, where you have the major leagues and the minor leagues. And if you're any good on your minor leagues, then eventually you're going to get caught up to the major leagues. And I think that's something the WWE has to prepare for. And I think they've done a very solid job the last few years on NXT as far as having, fresh talent on next and waiting to bring them up.
I mean, I think the same thing. I mean, I think that, like I said before on our show, that eventually those getting signed to NXT, like, look, if Bobby Roode and Eric Young do indeed sign with NXT, there's an example right there.
Oh, no.
People would much rather be at, if you would rather be at NXT than TNA, I think NXT is going to rival WWE, because eventually people on the NXT roster are going to see what happens to them when they get put on the WWE main roster. And they're going to, wait a minute, I could be a big fish in a small pond, or be a small fish in a big pond. And I'm getting checks from the same company.
And on time.
Yeah, your checks are coming in on time. Your merchandise is available on the main site.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've got the WWE machine behind you. If I was a wrestler and I went to NXT, you just sit, wait a minute, because you're going to have a major TV deal here in the next year or so.
I mean, with contract negotiations the way they are now, with other companies that are on television, I can't imagine seeing anybody choosing to go to TNA right now instead of going to NXT if the offer's on the table. Now, granted, TNA announced 5 signings this past week, one of which is independent star Cherry Bomb. Woohoo! And then there are others listed on there that really are relatively new. Some of them are journeymen, but for the most part, they're new, and they'll be new to the majority audience. They're attempting to go the right way with the youth movement, but to me, it seems too little, too late.
I think the problem. Go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
I said I don't know if it's too late for them. As long as they can hold on to a TV deal, I think they would have the ability to kind of right the ship. The question would be, can they right the ship? Do they have what it takes to right the ship?
Yeah, kind of going along with what Brian said. Can they right the ship? Do they have the talent in place? Are they going to have the main talent in place to help bring the new guys up and develop them? Or are these new guys going to have to come in and immediately be in high-performance storylines, and then all of a sudden... So, I mean, it's all how they use creative, because your big guys are jumping ship.
Mm-hmm. So how do you, if you're TNA, how do you acquire a main event talent at this point? Because that's the portion of their roster that's getting beat up the most.
Secretly partnership with WWE.
For me, it's simple. You just have to go out and find top tier talent that isn't on anybody else's roster, and make sure they're on yours. There are plenty of, first-class wrestlers out there that are not on TV, but, are great talent. And I think that's what they need, is to just say, well, we failed at this, but let's go find the next AJ Styles, wherever we find them. That's what Ring of Honor does. Ring of Honor should have some homegrown talent, but they go out and get their talent as well. Same thing with Next.
In the case of Ring of Honor, they're very well protected, and they keep their talent very well taken care of. So that's the majority reason why we don't see big changes in the Ring of Honor roster, is because they're not necessarily content there, but they're not looking to leave.
Right.
Well, I also think that's why Ring of Honor doesn't compete. It's not that they don't compete with WWE. They've just decided to be their own thing. They're not trying to be the WWE. They're trying to be Ring of Honor, and they're doing a damn good job at it. And they have their niche, and they stay with that niche. They're not trying to, as I said, be something they're not.
Very true. Very true. They're definitely not trying to come out there and run any company down. They're not looking to say that they're the alternative or number 2 or next number 1 or whatever. They're just Ring of Honor, and that's a good thing. That's what keeps them going. It's what's kept them in business for as long as they have been and kept them successful, dare say profitable.
I agree. And I think that's what TNA needs to finally stop doing, is trying to compete and just be their own brand and go find some of this top-tier talent that's scattered throughout the country and put them to use.
I mean, they've got EC3. They've got Drew Galloway. We know that those are 2 well-established talents. They've got James Storm for the duration. So he's a main event talent. I mean, who else is after that? Abyss?
I think if Bennett is used right, Bennett could be a pretty good pickup for you also. But, again, are they going to use Bennett properly? To me, that remains to be seen. Because, as far as I'm concerned, when he gets on the mic, it's one of those things, oh, well, I just don't like this guy. To me, there's something about him that as a character performer, I just don't like. And to me, that's what they need more of. They need, people that are going to put butts in the seats for one reason or the other.
So we're getting ready to head into our top of the hour break. And before we do, WrestleMania 31 right now is streaming on the network. They're showing it all day long. They've been showing different manias all day, all weekend, really. So one of the things I noticed on the stream here was that Ronda Rousey, of course, has a great moment with The Rock against Triple H in their little segment. What kind of surprise celebrity would you guys figure may make an appearance at Mania?
Who knows? Maybe Rousey again. But I think you're at the point now where The Rock is the celebrity, just based off of where he's at in his career.
Yeah, I think they missed the boat with Rousey. Not that they haven't done anything, but it doesn't seem like it, unless it's one of those last minute, they bring her up, she walks in and passes, passes Stephanie in the hallway, one of those things. But I don't know, they're in Texas, so I don't know, Chuck Norris.
Well, there's a former WWE superstar for the Hall of Fame wing, the celebrity wing.
Because whenever you're in Texas, look behind you.
Because that's where the Rangers gonna be. Is it sad? I know that. Oh. Wow. WrestleMania is now going to new lows. Maybe they'll bring Kid Rock back for what's his 50th appearance on WWE TV.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I think in an arena that big, you're going to have to do a spectacle, you know? Like, I don't know about you all, but I've been trying to figure out where they're going to hook the Hell in a Cell cage up to the top of the dome.
Man, that's awful high up. Maybe they have the ring crew bring it in during like an intermission or a video segment or something. I don't know. That's a good question.
That'd be a long video, because I was just thinking with the big, huge video screen up there. I mean, obviously, this would be a great Mania to go to, because you're going to have it on that big, 175 million flat screens or whatever in AT&T Stadium. So, I mean, there's not a bad seat in the house. So if AT&T would like to send me to WrestleMania or my friends, we would gladly accept it.
Yeah, absolutely. See, let's see who we've hit up so far. Hulk Hogan, AT&T, WWE, 2K games for WWE Supercard. Am I missing any? Oh, and DC Comics, because, and Warner Brothers. Yeah.
And Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
Correct. Hey, you know what? That's a good point, Eddie. Before we go to break, Mr. Zuckerberg, if you're out there, I know you're listening. You're a big Corner to Corner fan. We'd love to do a special on Facebook. Why don't you hook us up? Let's do a big live event from Facebook. That'd be cool.
Now you're just
Stop
now you're just pissing on your leg or something. Whatever that saying is.
It's okay. Well, folks, while I go clean up my leg, I guess we're going to go ahead and take the next break of the evening. Stick around here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. We'll be right back with Corner to Corner. See you in a few. Welcome back, everybody. It's Corner to Corner time again. Second hour. Hope you're ready. Hope you've got a lot of things on your mind, because so do we. That's why we're here. The triple threat again is still in the house. Brian Taylor, Rob Hefner, and myself, Stan Grubb. And of course, as always, joined by Fast Eddie Lane. Eddie, we haven't heard too much from you this evening, sir. I know you've been pretty busy this weekend. What are your thoughts on how WrestleMania could or could not shake out?
I will use the same word right now. First off, by the way, to everybody, happy. I hope everybody has been enjoying a peaceful Resurrection Day as well as a happy Easter. Two totally different things. They just happen to happen on the same day, and still not the same day every year. It's not static. It's a dynamic holiday. From there, too much controversy. I use the same word now that I used on Thursday night on the Shooters Gallery. The word for Vince McMahon right now is desperation. And you really can't convince me that their mindset is otherwise, because the principal owner of the damn company is the epitome of the word desperation right now. Remember on Monday Night Raw, we waited 2 hours and 40 minutes for him to make this blockbuster announcement pertaining to The Undertaker. If Taker loses, it'll be his last WrestleMania. Dude, really? You could have done that in the first hour. You could have done that at the show open of the 20-minute diatribe that's normally there. But that is the way that the entire card is going right now. Injuries, departures, all of the above. I think the only... I said it in production chat. And no, this rumor has not been going around. But knowing the fact that he is technically injured right now, it would never happen. At least the last report I saw, he was injured. I would back up a Brinks truck to Phil Brooks' front door and send him a dozen roses and a box of Cadbury bunnies.
Amen to that.
And then my next phone call would be to Steve Austin. You know that match the two of you wanted to have at WrestleMania? How quickly can y'all work that out, and can you go 20 minutes?
Boy, could you imagine the... I mean, it's already a sold-out event, as I understand it. But could you imagine the reaction? Just, wow, that would be phenomenal. I like where your head is at, Eddie. I like this.
Well,
just think of the reaction when they hit that music.
When they hit, if they were to hit Cult of Personality at AT&T Arena, that $175 million Titantron going to be going bye-bye because it's going to be disintegrated from the sound waves.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I can't see how that would be anything but just dollar bills.
Yeah, that would be a license to print money, because you could turn around and make commemorative T-shirts for that match for that one day. Oh my God. People would eat those damn things up at $20 each. I mean, think about it like this. If you had Cult of Personality hit and and CM Punk comes out to the ring and said, wouldn't miss it for the world. I may not like certain people. I may hate certain people. But this event right here is one that I'm proud to be at. So I'm going to put out an open call right now. Whoever thinks they can handle the best in the world, come on down. And then you hear the glass shatter. Oh my God, you'd have a... You would swear an A-bomb went off.
I got goosebumps just from the idea. That's pretty freaking awesome, by the way.
Look, if Austin's healthy enough to go and he doesn't want to do a send-off match, I understand that. Then make it something that counts. Make it something that people will talk about. Win, lose, or draw. If Punk goes over, great. If Austin goes over, great. If they do if they count out of the ring and the fans start chanting, or if they have like a 20-minute draw and let everybody go 5 more minutes, let them fight. Holy fecal matter. You know what's going to happen. You know it's going to happen. And you know they're both healthy enough to go. Austin made the mistake of saying it, and you know that Punk is healthy enough. I mean,
I think Punk is probably hesitant, but I think if Vince McMahon would back up the truck, so to speak, yeah, I think he'd be there. I think he's money motivated. I think he wants his fans to believe that he's not, but I truly think that CM Punk is money motivated, and if enough money is thrown at him, he'd do it.
I even think that they were to pull this off for this WrestleMania and they turn around and make Austin versus Punk ice cream bars sell out. I mean, think about it. They have a truck that prints T-shirts at the live events. They can do this. Remember Suplex City shirts? They're done. They're made in advance and ready to go. But it wouldn't be that hard to get a screen printer down to AT&T Arena Stadium. And if you had people going through the audience with Austin Punk T-shirts, April 3rd, 2016, I was there. You'd have probably about 40,000 T-shirts sold in 5 minutes.
Rob, we'll start with you. As unlikely as it seems, if they could do it, would Austin and Punk be enough to save this WrestleMania?
Well, I think Punk being involved would save the WrestleMania, because you know Steve Austin's going to be involved.
Right.
Them being in a match is just icing on the cake, and the T-shirts, the wrestling figure packs, the commemorative DVDs. It's just Vince McMahon is a merchandise machine, and it's just could there be an underlying reason why CM Punk has not made his UFC debut?
That's an interesting point. Because we only know what's been reported from UFC. We have not heard it directly from CM Punk, have we?
I mean, could he just be? I mean, we've seen it before where Vince and a certain talent have publicly not agreed, but then backstage, behind the scenes, enough zeros are on that check to make you say yes, sir, and come on in.
Brian, what do you think?
To me, it's not so much like the undercard, I guess. Even though there are people that should be on it that aren't. It's your main events. And I don't think Austin and Punk, a one-time match, to me, would do it. How are they going to pull off The Undertaker and Shane and make it look real? Triple H and Roman Reigns. What's the third one? Isn't there a third main event or something?
We got the three-way dance for the Diva title.
We've got the ladder match. We got the Divas title with Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, and Charlotte.
And then the six-man tag match with the League of Blue, blah, blah, and New Day.
And I did find confirmation that it is going to be the Dudleys against the Usos.
See, I mean, right there, that match screams Saturday night's main event.
Right.
It does not scream WrestleMania.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
No, I'm saying this whole card screams like this is just. I mean, like Brian said, where do you realistically in the Hell in the Cell match? Like, where do you go?
I mean, I can't see Shane being dominant. I can't see The Undertaker squashing Shane. But somewhere in the middle of that, we've either got to have some massive outside interference, which is kind of hard to come by in Hell in a Cell, or a ridiculous amount of weapons and blood, which isn't necessarily up WWE's alley right now.
Or, I mean, do you have where Vince interjects himself into the match so much that the Undertaker walks out of the cage and gets himself counted out? You know, I mean, granted, is a count out in Hell in the Cell because they're not supposed to be able to leave the cage, but
well, and then of course the elephant in the room: if the Undertaker loses, he's done.
But then if Undertaker loses, Vince is done.
Right. So how does that play out?
So then, I mean, they could do the whole storyline that, you know, yes, you're done. Well, then Dad, you're done. And then the next day on Raw, they bring back the Undertaker.
Shane.
You know, the Undertaker says thank you, and Shane says thank you, and boom. Next pay-per-view, the Undertaker's in the main event.
Well, my thing about the Undertaker, no offense to Mark here, but he's been going it for a long time, and should this be his last one, I would be okay with it. Especially after seeing the Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. Just not quite sure if you put him with a top tier talent, how much you could get that match to flow. You might have some issues with that.
We ought to call this segment hashtag tinfoil hats because it's all about conspiracy theories. I mean, who's to say that Shane doesn't go over, get the win, and then inserts the Undertaker into the main event for a triple threat?
Well, I mean,
to me that serves no point. To me, if you're going to insert somebody, it wouldn't be the Undertaker, because then you would have to expect him to carry 2 matches, and I just don't know if he could carry 2 matches now.
And to me, where on the card do you put this match? Because then if you see it, like you all were talking about, if Shane goes over and he has control of Monday Night Raw, then do people really care about the outcome of the Triple H and Roman Reigns match? You know, or do you have Triple H and Roman Reigns before Hell in the Cell? Because then you got to think, you also have to clean up Hell in the Cell to get your main event ready. And I know the WWE's been prone to commercials on their network, but, think of timing-wise.
Eddie, what's your thought here?
I had another name pop into my head that I don't know if logistically it could be worked out in time or if it hasn't already been worked out. Kurt Angle.
Wow. You know what? He's done with TNA. His run there is officially closed, and he has been wrestling actively on the regional circuit. This could be an opportunity for him to make a return.
If they could pull out Kurt Angle and get one appearance from him, doesn't matter who it's against. Although I would be very, very curious to see who they could get to work the Cyborg. And from that vantage point, yeah, I think that would be a beautiful thing.
Oh, well, I mean, you also have Young and Rude that are out there as well. I don't think they've committed anywhere.
I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough notice for them. I think as far as it goes with Kurt, yeah, you have an immediately recognizable name, and I think if they still have his music, which they do, it's their music. Dun 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 dun, whatever the hell. Sorry.
Lone Ranger.
Was that Bonanza?
Eddie has started wrestling karaoke a little bit early.
Hey, John Boy.
Funny.
What if it's Kurt Angle against The Undertaker? What if Shane introduces Kurt Angle as his chosen competitor?
I got to cut in because I still have a gut feeling that you will see John Cena interjected into that circumstance to take on Taker. That way, Taker gets the one person he wants to work, Cena gets the person he wants to work, and the place would come unglued all over again. I mean, you know, for me personally, screw the your time is up, my time is now. I would love to see, just for giggles, since this may be Taker's last ride, why not go ahead and bring back the Doctor of Thugonomics music one night only?
It would pop the crowd, that's for sure.
Or just if Cena comes out, your crowd's gonna go nuts.
Yeah.
Because the thing about Cena is you may get half the crowd that boos him, but I think deep down inside everybody respects him, and he's kind of like Hogan. It doesn't matter, you know. Hogan is Hogan, Cena is Cena, and when he comes out, you're just gonna act like a little schoolgirl.
Well, then how do you build the angle to where do you just have Shane say, you know what, I'm not going to do this, I've got somebody to do it, or do you have Vince McMahon and his posse somehow get a hold of Shane before it starts, and then Shane goes, well, I can't wrestle tonight, but I found somebody who's willing to fight on my behalf.
I would love to see them do something to where they do an ultimate beatdown on Shane Monday night on Raw. That way everything would be in pure hyperbole and speculation. The internet would be going ape fecal matter. And, got that one around the censors and the sponsors. What sponsors? I would have jokingly
ProWrestlingRadio.net.
I would jokingly have said something about Kanye giving us money to advertise in, but he managed to blow $53 million and still beg Zuckerberg for $1 billion, dork. If
wow.
Seriously, if they did do that, and lo and behold, it's like, okay, fine, what are they going to do with the match? The match is going to be called off. No, we're still advertising it. Shane, I don't care what happens. You may be injured, but you still got to be there. And then lo and behold, he pulls the loophole at the last minute. He comes out to the ring, crutches, wheelchair, gurney, piggyback ride on Big Show, escorted by midgets, don't care. And he gets down there and said, but I do have a viable replacement, someone that I know would like to stick it to you just as much as I would. Here comes the music. Here comes Cena. Place goes nuts.
I'm interested.
I think that would help boost your card. I mean, that would boost your WrestleMania.
Would they chance having Cena fresh off of surgery, making his return at Hell in a Cell?
How fresh off is he? You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
To me, the other thing about that is if there's one guy on the roster that might be able to carry Cena through a match, I think it's The Undertaker.
I think it's the other way around. I think Cena carries Taker.
Well, no, what I'm saying is if Cena is injured, I think The Undertaker would be careful enough not to hurt him.
That's a curious situation we are in here as we're looking at the conspiracy theories for WrestleMania. And how in the world do you put yourself in a situation to turn WrestleMania on its ear and to make the event something, the showcase of the Immortals? Because right now, to Rob's credit, I think he's right. It's looking more like a Saturday night's main event. It's a definite conundrum.
Conundrum.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see how it goes. I mean, for the Super Bowl of the WWE, for the thing that everybody waits all year to see, and the Raw past WrestleMania is supposed to be one of the highest, most anticipated Raws of the year. Well, what the hell? If you don't have a show that's worth woohoo, what's the Monday Night Raw going to be?
I mean, that's a great question. For Raw after Mania, if you don't have something big planned and Mania flops, boy, that's going to be a real challenge.
Yeah, but don't we already know the Monday night after WrestleMania? Isn't that Baltimore?
No, I mean, the Raw directly after Mania is going to be in Texas. So it's probably going to be in a neighboring arena. But the Monday after that is when they're supposed to be in Baltimore. Which is, by the way, that's a long road trip.
Not when you're the WWE.
Well, yeah, you get your own private jet and all.
Now, my question is, put it out to the powers that be here. The Divas match. Does the WWE take the gloves off them, let them have the Divas match that they used to have in NXT? Or do they still have to have a Diva-style match? And who wins? Who takes home the gold?
Oh.
Brian, you start.
Okay, teacher. I think Becky, Sasha Banks, I think.
You're wrong.
With it.
You're the weakest link. Goodbye.
Oh, thank you, Ann Robinson.
Nowhere through the 15 minutes did we ever have an intro. No, I'm kidding. So you said who? I'm sorry.
I think Sasha Banks walks away with it, actually. So that's just me.
I would like to see that.
Becky Lynch.
All right, Dan.
I'm thinking they're going to keep the belt on Charlotte. I think that they're going to give Charlotte Flair her WrestleMania moment.
Argument.
Okay. What was that, Eddie?
Okay, Charlotte, current champion. True. Sasha Banks, top contender. For me, the fact of the matter stands that I remember the comment made by Paige to Becky Lynch saying that she will never hold the Divas Championship because she is the most irrelevant of the group. The perfect way to counteract that, give her the belt at Mania.
It would be a surprise. Go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I foresee Rick costing Charlotte the belt. I think he's gonna mess it up, and he's gonna cost her the belt.
See, I think it's going to be this new faction, whatever they're called, that's going to get involved, which will then prompt Bayley to eventually make an appearance. But I think Sasha will be the one that gets the the pin.
So let's see. So far, we've got Sasha Banks. Rob, you're thinking Sasha as well?
Actually, I'm going to go with my girl, Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch. Wow. Look at Eddie swinging the vote. Look at Eddie. Go ahead, man. So it's interesting little mix here. All right. Well, let's go ahead and do one more quick undercard match, and then we'll go ahead and do our predictions for the remainder of the show. Usos and Dudleys. If it's a tables match, does it matter who the winner's there? Or does it change the factor? Or change who wins?
No. I don't think you're going to get a tables match. I think you're just going to have a straight tag team match.
Now, my question is...
Yeah.
Well, my question is, do you take that match and put it on the pre-show and then put the Battle Royal on the main show?
I mean, if I had my druthers, I would definitely put the Battle Royal on the main show. I'm not sure where their head was at putting that on USA, unless they're just trying to keep the... I believe WrestleMania week is WWE week on the USA Network. So that may be why they did that. Let's take our last break of the evening. When we come back, we'll continue to discuss the WrestleMania card, do our finishing up predictions, and final thoughts right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network for Corner to Corner. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to Corner Radio right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Triple Threat is back and in the house, enjoying a Sunday evening, talking about WrestleMania, and we're doing our rundown of the card, doing our predictions. When we left for break, we were talking about the Divas match. Seems like a split vote as to who will come out of that match. So we've got the remainder of the card to run through. We were talking about the Dudleys and the Usos. Brian, who do you have winning this match?
I think the Dudleys.
Dudleys. Rob?
Don't care.
It is kind of hard to buy into this match. They've done a good job of building the feud on Raw. I will give them that. And on SmackDown. But I don't really have a buy-in for this one. I'll say the Dudleys also.
I mean, I like the Dudleys just because I like the team, so I'll go with Dudleys, but it's just, I don't know.
Now we've got the New Day versus League of Nations, which for some ungodly reason is not for the Tag Team Championship. That being the case, I'm going to say the League of Nations wins.
That's a tough one. I mean, I think the titles aren't on the line again, so they can do this whole thing like they did with Brie Bella or Nikki Bella, be like, oh, the longest running tag team. But I'm going to go with League of Nations.
I'm sticking with New Day.
Brian, sticking with the Bootios.
Bootios wins out in the end.
Something about that just seems wrong. I don't know.
I foresee a Bootios shirt in Brian's future.
Well, they've apparently got a cereal box. I don't know if there's an actual Bootios cereal, but I know that they came out Monday night with a cereal box.
Your T-shirt comes in the box.
Yeah, the T-shirt's in the box.
Ah, okay. Alrighty. Well, Intercontinental title match, ladder match. Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn versus Dolph Ziggler, Zack Ryder, Sin Cara, The Miz, and Stardust. I actually forgot Stardust was in this.
And Santino. And Gilbert. and
they're going to get Christian out of retirement.
and Daniel Bryan.
That would be awesome.
Was that too soon? Sorry.
Too soon. I think there's still some fans out there that are a little sensitive. Rob, why don't you start us off? Who do you think is going to take this match?
Why'd you have to come to me first? I'd like to see Dolph Ziggler do it. just for the fact. But I agree with Brian what he said earlier. I don't think Kevin Owens in his WrestleMania debut. I don't think Kevin Owens leaves with a title. I think it's either going to be him or Sami Zayn building a Kevin Owens Sami Zayn feud for a little while. But again, if you were trying to write Kevin Owens out of the picture, like we had talked about, not to write him out of the picture, but to push him to the main event, then you put it on Dolph Ziggler.
That's a good case for that. I'm going to say that Sami Zayn wins. I have a feeling that they are going to go for the Kevin Owens-Sami Zayn feud, but it's feasible to see them moving Kevin Owens up the card. I think that makes sense. Something that we talked about earlier in the night as far as where this title match would be or if it was going to happen was the United States Championship. Kalisto defending against Ryback.
Yay.
Brian's excited.
Boo.
Rob is not so much.
Well, I don't see how you're not going to have Ryback not beat the tar out of Kalisto. So I'm going to have to go with Ryback.
Rob, what do you got?
I'm going with Kalisto just because why not? I don't care. But
champion's advantage. Okay.
You know, like it's just I don't know. I'm not sold on Ryback. I mean, I just feed me more. I just wish somebody would go on a diet and they would just get rid of him. But
I don't know if he's actually doing that stuff anymore with this new gimmick. He doesn't really play to the crowd like he was. But I mean, this is truly David and Goliath here. How could you not have Ryback win?
Because this is going to be in the pre-show, and then they're all going to be in the Battle Royal.
You know, I mean, if
I'm just kidding.
Ryback is the obvious choice, I think. Kalisto has definitely solidified himself as a player, as worthy as being on the card. But at the same point, when you put him in the ring and you put him in a match against a guy like Ryback, it's really hard to not pick Ryback in this match. Even for all his flash and flare and jumping up all over the place, I just don't see Kalisto getting off the ground. I mean, I really don't think he's going to do it. I think Ryback becomes U.S. champ.
Yay.
All right, so
then could they instantly have the U.S. Open Challenge start like immediately, and then somebody come out and beat him?
Now that I'd be okay with.
I think that's a Cena thing. I don't really see Ryback doing the U.S. Open Challenge.
I think they should institute it like the hardcore title, the 24/7 rule.
That'd be kind of cool. If you're U.S. champ, you have to do the Open Challenge. I kind of like that idea. So the Divas title match we've already talked about. Got a split vote there. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Now, the Battle Royal so far has the Social Outcasts and the Big Show is the announced entrance so far.
It's a main event anywhere else in the world.
Well, TNA would try to tout it as one.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, maybe Kane, I guess, because I think Kane is probably going to be in it.
Well, when Kane came down and saved him from the Social Outcast and then it proceeded to whoop his butt, yeah, Kane's going to be in it, I think.
Yeah, that chokeslam off the top rope was kind of cool.
But I think you empty the back. I think you get, your Titus O'Neil or whoever is in the back. You get them all coming out.
Titus O'Neil fresh off of his suspension for touching Vince McMahon. Right up there with more things that don't make sense.
You don't touch the man.
Don't cross the boss. Don't touch Vince.
No, but I mean, I think it's going to be your. Well, it can't be Stardust. I mean, Goldust, R-Truth. Zack Ryder's in a match actually. Wow.
Yeah, but that's never really stopped some of these people from being in matches and battle royals in one night.
True. So you got how many people? How many people in the League of Nations? 4.
Yes.
So 3 are going to fight. So 1, Alberto Del Rio, will be in the battle royal.
Okay. I'm not sure who they could have win this battle royal. My only guess would be Kane. I mean, Big Show's already won it. Cesaro's injured. I really don't see them doing anything with the Outcast for this one, unless there's a surprise entrant.
I think Charles Robertson wins.
Little Nate wins. Little Nate wins. Maybe they get Barry Horowitz out of retirement. Oh, no buys? Okay.
Well, I mean, I don't think you do your surprise entrance into the Andre the Giant Battle Royal just because if it's not going to be part of the show, if you're going for that shock and awe type thing, why would you have your shock and awe if it's not going to be broadcasted on your pay-per-view?
That's a really good point. So I guess at this point when we talk about the Battle Royal, it's really it's hard to predict because there's not a complete list available right now. So let's talk about Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar then. No holds barred street fight. Should be a great match regardless of who wins. It's hard to pick a winner. I'm going to say Brock Lesnar.
I'm going to have to say Dean Ambrose.
I can't.
Ambrose.
I can't get bet against Dean Ambrose on this one. I think they're building it up to be Brock Lesnar, but Brock Lesnar does good in the ring. I think Dean Ambrose takes advantage and takes him out of the ring, and that's where he wins.
Yeah, it's hard to see which direction they really want to go with this. They've built both guys rather well as far as leading into this match. I think they feel that their money is still with Brock Lesnar, even though he is a select attraction. They don't necessarily have him on every Monday night. But maybe WrestleMania is the time where they reward Dean Ambrose and put him over in a big way. There is also the possibility that Ambrose turns, which could make it even more intriguing towards the end of the night. Maybe they do a double turn and complete Brock's face turn and have Ambrose go over by cheating, or maybe he goes with Heyman. I don't know. I guess you can't really cheat in a street fight.
I think Dean Ambrose wins by lowering a forklift onto the forklift prongs onto Brock Lesnar where he can't get up.
Will he hold the camera there too? That'll be awkward.
You know how it goes.
Just ask The Rock and Mick Foley.
You gotta do what you gotta do, man. As long as somebody's head doesn't end up in the urinal, we're all right. Thank you, Kevin Sullivan.
That was pretty nasty. So the next one is Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker. Hell in a Cell. If Shane wins, he's in control of Monday Night Raw, or the WWE. And if The Undertaker wins, Shane is gone. But if The Undertaker loses, he is done, according to Vince McMahon.
I mean, I'm sure Shane's going to win. I just ain't got a clue how he's going to pull that off.
That's where the angle comes in. It's how's it going to work?
Well, let's throw the interesting mix in there. Let's see. I'll say Shane wins when Cena comes in and hits the attitude adjustment on Taker.
Okay, well, I like that, but I will go a different angle, and I will say Cena win. I mean, not Cena. Shane wins when Vince comes down and interjects himself too much, pisses off the Undertaker. The Undertaker walks.
Okay. Brian?
I don't know. I think Shane wins, but I just don't know how.
It's a tough thing to predict. It really is, because there's so many different variables that they have at play here. This is not necessarily the easiest match to predict here. Looking at the main event, moving into Triple H defending the WWE World Championship against Roman Reigns. Now, Triple H is the decided favorite. I think we would all agree on that. If, in fact, WWE tries again to get Roman Reigns in the proper light with fans, that's going to be a hard thing to do. You got to figure there's going to be outside interference. Maybe we see Dean Ambrose, fresh off of a heel turn, interfere and cost Roman Reigns the match. Maybe we see someone else do it. Maybe we see AJ Styles get involved. I don't know. I mean, AJ Styles doesn't have a match at WrestleMania at this point.
They haven't put him and Chris Jericho yet?
Hasn't been made official, not yet. He made the challenge, but I don't think Jericho had accepted yet.
AJ Styles. I just let you all know that chant was so contagious. Two of my kids are walking around the house all day today going, AJ Styles.
What about AJ when he followed it up with Y2 Jackass?
No, they didn't chant that.
No? That's probably good. They don't want to get in trouble with that.
No. I see that as WrestleMania gold, putting AJ Styles and Chris Jericho together. I don't know if it's going to be one of those last minute things, if it's going to be on the pre-show or what, but it's just it should happen. Hopefully, it does.
I think it's going to happen. If I had to make a prediction on that, I would say AJ Styles wins.
I say it does. I say AJ Styles over Chris Jericho, and then AJ Styles on to his other angles that he will have in the WWE.
Brian, your prediction?
I would think AJ would probably win. However, they probably would be foolish not to book the match. But, the WWE, sometimes they like to be foolish.
I would put it in an I Quit match.
Ooh, that's an interesting spin.
Make one person say they quit.
You got the Calf Killer, or the Calf Crusher now, I guess, versus the Walls of Jericho. Oh, that'd be a cool mix. I'd like to see that.
See?
Look at Rob. Guest booker. Rob in the house.
It's a stubbly bubbly fubbly, if you will.
What? Stubbly bubbly fubbly. I don't even know what that means.
Hashtag stubbly bubbly fubbly.
That's a long hashtag. I think that's almost an entire tweet.
What is our hashtag this week?
Characters. I think I tried with hashtag tinfoil hats, but I don't think that really went over too well.
No, that went over like a fart in church.
That's not what I did today.
You didn't go to church because the ground didn't shake.
Oh, wow. And let's see, 10:54.
I know these people are like, we got to work tomorrow. Stop getting us drunk.
Right. Oh, well, let's say, I'll go ahead and just say that Roman Reigns wins. I'll be the one that says it for the main event.
Yeah.
I say Triple H wins, but Shane wins, and Triple H has to vacate on Monday.
Ooh. All right. Brian?
I think Reigns is going to win. I think they're just going to stick with what they got going, and I think going to be Reigns winning.
So if Reigns wins at WrestleMania and Shane wins at WrestleMania, Monday night, the Raw after Mania, who's the guy? Is it Dean Ambrose for sure? Do they try to have Triple H in a rematch where like a loser leaves town bit? What do you think? Who's the next main event heel?
I think you have to go after Dean Ambrose. But
I mean, they have heels, they just don't use them right.
Right.
So for all we know, it'll be friggin' what's his name? The dude from the League of Nations.
Sheamus.
No,
not him. What about Rusev? What about Rusev?
Yeah, that's
Why
it.
couldn't it be Rusev?
What about Rusev?
What about Rusev?
That's the guy. The guy I forget. Yeah.
because Rusev has fallen into the vacuum of push suckers.
I think he was kind of his own worst enemy when he let his fiance post their, engagement announcement on Instagram while they're in a feud against each other.
Well, I mean, I think that's why you haven't seen either one. I mean, he is still in Vince's doghouse, per se.
Right.
And Sheamus is Sheamus, and as hurtful as it is, the King Barrett, he's on his way out. Hopefully he changes his mind and they give him a push because, hey, he'd be a great heel. He is a good heel.
I don't understand why they never really gave Wade Barrett a clear shot.
Because I've got some bad news for ya.
I mean, bad news, Barrett was great. His run with the Nexus was great. I mean, if there's a guy that's proven that he can be that next level, I think Wade Barrett's definitely that one.
Maybe.
And we have a loaded question.
Eddie's got something for us. What you got, Eddie?
You made a reference to TNA a little bit earlier in the broadcast tonight.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
If situations do not prevail and Impact is forced to close their doors, and Vince and the WWE buy the assets and the video library of Impact Wrestling, would they then acknowledge the TNA World Championship reigns of Sting when they talk about him?
Yeah, after they acquire it, I think they would put that in there. But only if they acquire it. I couldn't see them doing it any other way. I think it was a long shot that had Christian show up at that TNA pay-per-view for their Hall of Fame. Just off of that random moment for them. And even that, WWE really didn't acknowledge TNA at that point. They just made the deal.
Brian?
The question... Oh, yes. Go ahead, Brian.
It wasn't me.
No, I mean, what do you
He
think?
was asking you.
I'm asking all three of you.
Oh, I think they can get around it just saying he's a 6-time world champ and leave it at that. They have done that before.
I don't think Vince would balk at the idea. I don't think he'd hesitate at the idea of buying up their library. Basically, being the vacuum of wrestling promotions, sucking them up, then they no longer exist, except on the network for $9.99.
Well, therein lies another question. If TNA were to shut the doors, which honestly is feasible, how soon would they get their footage on the network? I mean, would they even put it on the network?
Right now, I don't think it rates the network, but that's just me.
I think you would just have either select matches of certain people. Samoa Joe, Austin Aries, Kurt Angle, of course, just to showcase his career. Mm-hmm. But the majority of footage, I don't think you'd see.
I think that with TNA, I think they have almost alienated themselves in the eyes of Vince simply because of their their copying. I mean, just the fact that they've done so many. There's a WWE castaway. Let's make him champ, and not, hey, there's a guy that's a TNA original. We've been here since the beginning. It's always been, what did Vince get rid of this week? Okay, cool. Let's give him the belt. So
Wait. What? Time out. Angle had the title. Drew Galloway has the title now. But I mean, I wouldn't really call Matt Hardy, because he'd been separated from the WWE for so long, one of those.
One of the castaways.
Yeah.
Jeff.
Bobby Roode.
Even Jeff. Well, I don't even know if I'd call Jeff, because there was some separation. It's not like they just, walked out the door, waited 6 months, and were TNA bound like Drew.
I have to argue, because remember when Jeff left and came back to TNA, lo and behold, I mean, he left WWE, went to TNA, left back to the E, back to TNA.
Okay, all right. So out of all the champs, there are two, maybe, that you can say that about. As far as TNA goes, you can't say that about Bobby Roode, AJ Styles. I'm trying to think who else you would have had. Kurt Angle, Sting. The majority of them are not just products of the WWE.
Well, I think in the case of a guy like Kurt Angle, he had his run in WWE and then took his leave, went to TNA, and then solidified his legacy there. So I think Angle really made his own path there. It's from my perspective, I just look at it from, okay, well, Drew Galloway's a good example. As soon as he was gone, he was on their TV and ready to saddle up. Took him a while to get him the title, but to me, it just seems like this is a repetitive thing for them. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not a viable product to purchase if their library were to come available.
Actually, Stan, I have to argue there was a little bit of a bracket between where Galloway left WWE and before he showed up in TNA, because he had been working for Evolve and a number of different promotions before he showed up in TNA.
Yeah, that's true. He did win the Evolve title.
Yeah.
I think you asked the question, Stan, and then answered it yourself. That was pretty cool.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah.
I mean,
okay.
I don't think TNA is like WCW used to be, where you could literally have somebody show up that night and win the title.
Vince wasn't using non-competes. That's why Luger was able to get away with it. Rick was able to get away with it. And then as time went on, then Vince started, his legal team started incorporating non-competes.
I mean, I do like the way the TNA title looks. I do like that. Just total random fact, by the way.
Is TNA really on the brink, you think? I mean, do you think that their doors are coming that close to being closed?
I think that this is their last gasp, guys.
I think you can look at whoever's champ and say, hey, do you want to be the champ when the doors close?
Well, they did.
You know, kind of like,
feeling.
I mean, who was the last WCW champ?
David Arquette.
Oh, it was Booker T.
But when they put it on David, you can damn well bet the stockholders go, I gotta sell.
Who was the last DCW champion?
Rhino.
And the last one after that?
Oh, you mean when they restarted? Big Zeke, Ezekiel Jackson. As a matter of fact, ECW closed the next day. They shut the brand down the next day. They canceled it. They announced NXT on Monday Night Raw, taking over for ECW. As a matter of fact, it was Vince proclaiming ECW's death yet again. You know, I mean, I know Paul Heyman has matured quite a bit, but that's got to stick in his craw a little bit.
Well, when you sell the company to the man named Vince, you really don't have a say in what happens to it after that.
Fair point.
That's, I think, the reason we've never seen WCW come back is Vince finally said, you know what, I'm killing it.
How many of you remember the night that before ECW One Night Stand, it was Paul Heyman, Eric Bischoff, and Vince McMahon in the same ring on that Go Home episode of Raw before One Night Stand?
I do not remember it.
I remember the standoff they had on the mic, and Vince trying to be the protagonist to help Paul Heyman, which to me just seemed a little bit out of sorts, but okay.
I will never forget the words that Paul Heyman uttered when he first got into the ring. He said, "Please remember our arrangement. You can own ECW, but I still control ECW." Oh boy, was that proven to be really effing wrong.
Yeah, what'd that last, like 3 months?
Yeah, remember?
Here you go, Paul.
No,
write it. Oh, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, they destroyed all the ECW originals inside of the first month.
Oh, that's right. They did the whole New Breed versus ECW originals. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the guys that never really, and I know that he ended up leaving the industry based off of issues with his family, but one of the guys that I've always thought was a huge talent that never got his just due was Monty Brown, Marcus Corvin.
Mm-hmm.
Proven talent in TNA, solid ring work, main eventer, got to ECW, and I thought to myself, wow, here's a guy that's going to be money for WWE. Boy, was that, well, I guess I was sadly mistaken because he was gone really quick. Brian, you remember Monty Brown?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well!
Deep Thoughts by Brian Taylor.
Yes. Yes, I do. Well, okay then. Well, let's see here. Rob?
Yes.
What are your thoughts, before we close this out and head on home, what are your thoughts?
You can't shut us down. You can't do it. There's only one person that has the power to do that, and it's not you.
Wow, that's right. Eddie Lane with his finger on the button.
No, actually, remember I said that the Midnight Black Mass is not going to be airing tonight. Y'all can go along.
Oh, well, already then.
So we going to church tonight.
Uh-oh. Preach,
yes.
Preach.
Yes. As you go to that dial on the internet, just hold your hand on the screen as you write me a check. Oh, no, sorry.
With one hand on the mouse and the other hand on your checkbook.
Or I will take your debit card information since that's easy.
We do accept PayPal.
Here's an interesting topic for an upcoming show that we should do is what would have happened, or what would the wrestling world look like today if WCW had won?
That's an interesting point you bring up. As WCW winning the Monday Night War, would we have seen Eric Bischoff gloating? I hold in my hands WWE's roster. Would he have fired anybody, you think? Would he have fired Steve Austin just to make it happen? Just to say he did or say he could?
I mean, I think you would have seen a certain bit of ego-ness like you saw with Vince, you know? Vince came out and he said, finally, I did it. And you'd see with Eric, too. You would see Eric right there in the middle of a Raw ring, standing there, holding his NWO shirt high in the sky.
I wonder if Scott Steiner's career would have continued in the main event role had he absorbed WWE's talents?
No.
What
I'd like to say no, but I mean, he put him there in the first place over Benoit and Jericho and Malenko. So,
boy, could you imagine the looks on their faces if Bischoff becomes the new owner and says, "Hey guys, welcome back. You were unhappy, welcome back."
You know how you signed that contract to get away from me?
I now own that contract. Would Ted Turner have taken the chance there? Would he have found a way to get money involved there? Because I know that Bischoff was trying to have, I believe the company was called Fuchsient Energy or something like that, helping him to make the purchase. You think Ted Turner would have wanted to get his hands in there?
I think one of the biggest problems with it was that Ted didn't have his hands in the way he wanted them anyway. You know.
Yeah, I mean, once the merger went through, Turner really didn't get anything else to do. He couldn't really get involved. And once that was done, had Eric Bischoff been successful with his purchase of WCW from Time Warner, it would have been interesting to see where they go with that. He did an interview where he was discussing the plan, and what he was going to do was shut down WCW for, I think he said about 3 months, and then do Nitro. He would get rid of Thunder, and he would just do Nitro, and then slowly but surely start going back out on the road. I think that would have been a good strategy. I think he would have made his money back, and I think he would have made WCW a more successful company by doing that. I mean, that's, in essence, what he did when he first got WCW to the top. He took them off the road. He limited schedules. He started doing Saturday night tapings for both WCW Saturday Night, WCW Pro, WCW Main Event. He did them all together like they do with SmackDown and, back in the day, Velocity and Sunday Night Heat. Oh, yeah, and Worldwide. Thanks, Eddie. And then he did take WCW off the road for 6 months, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have made him money to do that. I mean, Nitro was a proven commodity.
Yep.
Thanks, Rob. Now Rob with the deep thoughts. I mean, there's a million different scenarios here that we can go through, but Rob has a point. I mean, this is one of those full episode kind of conversations because you really have to start from the bottom of the roster, conceivably, just looking at who they would absorb. And going from there, looking at possible storylines. I like the idea of doing a fantasy booker show.
Hey, guys, I got one for you real quick. What if the WCW talent raids of ECW had not worked? What if some of the ECW originals like Public Enemy and some of the others that left in the early running, what if they'd have stayed? Who would have benefited? Would the benefit for ECW would the benefit for ECW be greater than the loss for WCW? Brian, I'll go to you first on that one.
I think Brian has actually stepped away from his keyboard for the moment.
Okay, Rob.
Pass. I mean, hi. I think it would have made, if they would have never left ECW, I think ECW would not have had to gotten into the problem they had. Understand?
Yeah.
It'd been like, if you had your base group and they would have stayed with them and built from there, Paul E would have been in a lot better financial position, and he wouldn't have had to make the deal with the devil of Vince McMahon.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it's all like we've said before. You know, when it comes to talent like this, it's all based on TV and merch. And Paulie had TV, but if he could have gotten in different markets, who would have known?
Well, I think the deal with Spike TV really hurt ECW because while they were more available, there was no promotion, there was no advertising done. They were still paying out of pocket, and they were also being refused checks from pay-per-view companies that owed him money. Had they not lost Raven and Stevie Richards, Bam Bam Bigelow, Jericho, because really, realistically, when you look at it, Jericho and Benoit left ECW for WCW. They had such a huge talent roster at the time. You can even go even further and say Lance Storm. Lance Storm's role in WCW was great, and ECW was great. So seeing him go to WCW was a major loss for them. Sandman, I think Hardcore Hack definitely came off flat on WCW TV. And so that when Sandman was gone from ECW, it really hurt a lot of their drawing power. Brian, the topic of discussion here is what would have happened had ECW's talent not jumped ship?
It's hard to say. Would that particular style carry through too much longer? Because to me, when they went from the bingo hall to some of these bigger stadiums, to me the magic disappeared a little bit.
I also think that with the roster that they had, as extreme as we saw Extreme Championship Wrestling get, I don't know that if they would have gone through that exact length with the guys that they had at the time. I mean, if we go all the way back to when Jericho and Benoit jumped ship, that was and also Eddie Guerrero, and Rey Mysterio. When you look at those guys going from ECW to WCW, that changes the landscape entirely for WCW. So keeping them in ECW, we may not have seen Extreme Championship Wrestling grow to the point that it did initially, but we may have actually seen ECW hold its own as a major wrestling promotion in general. So maybe that magic would have been a different type.
Would you compare ECW when they made it to the trip, when they changed to like the way they did business, per se, about going to the bigger arenas and kind of like expanding their brand? Would you compare that to when TNA brought in Hogan and Flair and kind of did their brand in?
No. No. Hang on a second.
Because, what I was saying was at the time, TNA had this little niche in the world. You know, they had their little, like, the Ring of Honor niche. But then it seemed like when they started bringing in the big guys like that, they made that play like we are going to try to compete with WWE. And I didn't think it worked.
Yeah, they came up so short with that. They had opportunity after opportunity just to stay at a very solid number 2 promotion and also to continue to work any way they wanted, anywhere they wanted. So when they stopped doing TNA-based programming and started bringing in Bischoff and started bringing in Hogan and Flair and Hogan's friends like the Nasty Boys, that really served to just I wouldn't necessarily go so far to say ruin, but it definitely hurt what they were doing.
I kind of think that that's where they're still trying to recover from. They're still trying to recover from the Hogan and era at TNA. That's just me.
I mean, I think if you look at what TNA was doing beforehand, they had really solidified their place. They had become a lot more successful in the aspect of the X division and just having a different style. That when they finally started to, I guess, match up to what other companies were doing, it really flopped on them, and I don't think that they were. I honestly don't know that they could ever recover from something like that.
Well, I see a different. Even though they were technically, I guess you could call them number 2, because they had a big time TV deal when some of these other ones don't. They were never really that big. I mean, they had an impact zone, which was not that big because I've been there. There's no plug in here. Down in Florida, it was the impact zone, but that was it. If you go see a live show there at the smaller arenas, even back before Hogan and them, TNA was only second due to a TV deal. And some of their wrestlers. But, I don't think Hogan or Bischoff helped them or hurt them, because they didn't grow. They weren't really growing to begin with. They had an audience, and they had, a niche audience.
Yeah, they definitely had a niche there. I mean, when you look at the comparison between what TNA was doing at the time and what ECW was doing at the time before their talent started to jump, ECW, that is, it is comparable. I mean, there are some parts of that you can compare, but there are some distinct differences. I don't think Paul Lee ever had the deep pockets that Panda Energy has, or had. I don't know if they still have, but they didn't have the deep pockets there. So anybody that came in was basically, to Steve Austin's point, hey, do you want to cut a promo? Do you want to do this? Do me a favor, help me out, and we'll help you out in return. And I think that's what we really saw with what they delivered in ECW, was a lot of guys willing, I guess, drink the Kool-Aid. Whereas with TNA, the vision was never really laid out. I don't think they ever gave from all interviews that I've heard from guys that have left, interviews that I've conducted, people just basically state that TNA just didn't have a clear vision. Just didn't know what they wanted from their talent or from their entire company. Interesting questions here on Corner to Corner. Looks like we're coming up on that magic time where we got to head on down to what is it that Steve Austin calls it? Head for the trail or something like that. I don't know. Walk off into the sunset. I don't know. Whatever he says. About that time for us to go ahead and take it on home. So fellas, coming up this coming weekend, Wrestlemania is this coming Sunday. We've already laid out our predictions. Should be interesting to see what happens. This Monday night should be the go-home, the big go-home. They've really got to deliver. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Maybe we see a twist for the WrestleMania card. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. That being the case, I want to make sure I say, hey, thank you very much to all of the Corner to Corner listeners all over the world for contributing to what has been a record-breaking month for the show. Guys, we have grown exponentially from last month. We have really changed where we were before, and I got to say, it's an exciting point. Man, thank you so much.
Exponentially?
Exponentially.
You've been waiting all day to say something like that, haven't you?
You know, I was looking at the thesaurus. I was saying, what can I use?
Did you say what? You didn't pronounce it right.
Thesaurus?
Keep talking, Pony Boy.
All right. So, close this one up. Brian,
no, you can't count us down. You can't count us down. You can't shut us up. Eddie's already told us we can keep going. So you can't. No, you're not flying the ship there, Moy. We're not your monkeys. Get your finger off the keyboard.
All right, Han Solo, show us where to go. Hit the fucking into overdrive. Let's do this.
No, don't be yelling at me. No, I think we got a great week of wrestling coming up. I just think it's what you said. WrestleMania is so far, quote, air quotes that I'm doing here in my living room that nobody can see, is in the books, but I think you're going to see some changes. I think the card as it is can't stand on its merit as it's written for a WrestleMania card, and that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where WrestleMania heads, what changes or what gets switched up, if anything. Monday night, maybe we do see a switch up. I'm really, honestly, Eddie brought it up as far as what could happen with maybe it's a slim pipe dream of a possibility, but man, wouldn't it be cool if we could see a CM Punk kind of thing?
You're just you have how many CM Punk shirts at home?
I have 3.
Yeah, so you're still wanting to wear them. You know, is that your mom calling you, telling you it's okay to go to bed?
No, it's not.
Stan, where did you put that? Where'd you put my medicine?
I didn't do it, Ma. It was the guys. They did it. just like when TJ got hurt. Rob, go get my mom.
Yeah. The boy sprung a leak from in between his eyebrows. Can you come downstairs? TJ's leaking. Hey, it's not my fault that this kid who was what? 10?
I think he was actually 11, but it doesn't really matter.
I mean, he tried to do a Hurricane Rana on me. At the time, I was 6'3".
Well,
6'4".
let's put the story in proper perspective. Now, back when in our younger, more formidable teenage years, we may or may not have participated.
Not listen to the WWE.
Exactly.
We did listen to their little tagline.
We did try this at home.
So the following story does not reflect the views of Beyond Ringside Radio Network, ProWrestlingRadio.net, or any of the other shows owned by Eddie Lane.
So there we are, and this is actually a good story for all of our bonus round listeners. There we are. And this is no S.
Shit. I said it. Sorry.
It's me, Bob, and my younger brother, and it was never abnormal for us all to be wrestling around and being stupid. So one day we get this fabulous idea. We're going to go into the room that's basically empty and use that as our ring. My younger brother was a big fan of the Luchadors, Rey Mysterio specifically, and gets the bright idea of trying to do a Hurricanrana to a 6'3", I'll be as generous as possible here, Rob, and 200-something pound guy.
Not tell me what's going on.
Exactly. Not only doesn't
I would
just jumps and says, "Catch me."
I would have sold it if I had known that he was going to fly and bend that direction. But no, he forgot to look for the closely proximity oak bed
So there's our 6'3", my big best friend, Rob Hefner, trying to do his best to catch my younger brother and allow him to at least somewhat pull off this hurricanrana. Well, of course, without communicating, without talking about, I want to try something, because we had never, and never did after, tried anything like this, Rob catches him as best he can and tries to bend with it, but he's close. And TJ comes up, and this wasn't Rob's fault. TJ's my younger brother, by the way. Comes up and is way too close to the bed frame and smashes his forehead on the bed frame, right between the eyes. Now, normally in this situation, it's, it's a bump, he'll be all right, we're all good, whatever. No. No, that's not how this happens. No, right between the eyes opens a gash. And you remember WrestleMania 13, where Stone Cold Steve Austin is in the sharpshooter, and he's picking his head up, and there's blood firing off down to the mat? That was my younger brother, only it wasn't going downward. It was shooting upward. There's me, there's Rob, and there's my younger brother laid out. We are freaking out. Now, this is way past the statute of limitations. We can't be charged for this. In my infinite wisdom, I look to Rob, more or less in my panic. Hey, Rob, go get my mom. Not, hey, Rob, hold my brother here while I go get my mom and tell her how much trouble I'm going to be in. Go get my mom. So, being the awesome friend that Rob was, he did. He went and got my mom, and I'm holding my younger brother down, trying to, and at this point there's so much blood that I don't know what to do. There's a town.
And it was a long way. Like, Stan's mom was upstairs, but it felt like I had to walk down the block. It
was one of those moments where I remember thinking, where the hell are they? What's taking so long? He's bleeding out over here. Now, thankfully, it was a cut that was, I guess you could say, just a flesh wound. But he managed to end up, what did he get? 3 stitches? 2 stitches? Something like that?
Yeah. I think it was 2 or 3 stitches. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to also know that this was before Stan's inability to deal with blood. This may be the reason
that I
this
can't.
may be the reason that he can't. I mean, even his own blood. If Stan sees his own blood, it's like seconds. He gone. Wake him up.
It was only a few months later that I ended up smashing my head on an overhang, giving myself a concussion, and then dropping in my mother's sewing room. I do remember that. But, yeah.
So moral of the story is you don't bite and stand over to your house.
Ever. I'm the worst house guest ever. I'll eat Cheetos in your big futon and leave crumbs everywhere.
So when Brian listens to this show tomorrow, sorry, Brian, for what's going on in your house and you're not there. Heaven help what wrestling figures and your action figures proposes that they're in by the time you get home.
I can neither confirm nor deny that. I may put these on Instagram later. What's Deadpool doing to... Oh, my God!
I'm going to go see that one day.
But, oh, yes.
What, Eddie?
I said, I'm going to go see that one day.
Deadpool?
Yeah.
You've not seen Deadpool yet?
Dude, I haven't had time.
That's it, brother. You need to take a road trip up to Virginia. We're going to take you to the movies.
Y'all need to make a road trip to Atlanta on April 17th, and we'll go to AWE, and I will take us to the Varsity afterwards.
I would like to go to Varsity. I hear this conversation all the time about the Varsity, and it sounds like a pretty awesome place.
It is.
That's the hot dog place, isn't it?
It is good old-fashioned greasy 50 diners food.
I'm in. Let's do this.
I've seen it on the food show that they had.
I tell you what, Stan and I. Okay, we're doing this publicly, folks, on this 27th day of March. I finally said the day. So, for everybody listening in rotation, guess what? We do this show live on Sunday nights, with the exception of WrestleMania weekend. God only knows what the hell we're going to do. # Lost Cause, COSZ. Meanwhile, back at the ranch,
We miss you, good.
If you guys, yeah, I know, I need to improve the sights on my rifle. If y'all were to bug Saturday morning and get down here Saturday evening on the 16th, y'all could make it in time for Peach State Wrestling Alliance. Get a cheap hotel room. There's a ton of them. Sunday, Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment, 2800 Campbellton Road. And you've heard some of the names that are going to be there on that date for Homegrown. They've got some great talent from in and around the central Georgia area, and they're bringing in a ton of talent from the Northeast, including nationally known superstars like Tommaso Ciampa. This is going to be a good show. Y'all need to come down here for this. And after the show, go to the Varsity, grab some chili dogs. Chili cheese slaw dogs, to be exact. Either that, or we're going to the Vortex and have a major burger, or we're going to Folk Art and have their Triple D meatball burger. $13 burger that's worth $13. And y'all leave at a reasonable time. Y'all can still make it back in for work on Monday morning, depending on what time you have to be at work.
This in April?
Yep.
Well, I hate to have to bow out, but I'm going to see Pearl Jam at the Hampton Coliseum on Tuesday of that week. So my weekend is already spoken for. But I will be in Atlanta this summer. I'll be down there for work.
Cool.
Down there in hot Atlanta. Staying downtown. See, that's what on our roundtable show, if WCW would have won and Ted Turner had a hand in it, there would be a Hall of Fame building down there in Atlanta, the same area that the World of Coke is, the Georgia Aquarium. It'd all be right there.
They could go ahead and just buy the building They could buy the building on Techwood Drive and put a Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame there. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
I'd love to see a physical Hall of Fame location like that has WWE and WCW, the whole 9 yards. I mean, that would be so cool.
I mean, I think the way the WWE is cataloging their stuff, it's guaranteed it's going to, they're guaranteed they're going to have something sometime.
So, Eddie, you mentioned the AWE event on the 17th. I know you've got the calendar there with you.
Oh, what more do you got? What local talent do you got going on?
First off, to everybody who made it last night to Pell City, Alabama, close to 300 plus, thank you for coming out to the Global Championship Wrestling live event. 7 great matches, including the GCW Ladies Championship match, Veronica Fairchild v. Priscilla Kelly, GCW Heavyweight Championship match, Spiral successfully defended against AJ Steele, to which immediately Steele said, I said that I would give you everything I got. Then he turned around and said, I also say I quit. At the end of the night, AJ Steele quit. And I'm he's not returning phone calls. I haven't checked social media today, so I don't know anything that's going on up there. But
wait, you mean AJ Steele retired?
I don't know. He's not saying.
Wow.
He is not saying. But from that vantage point, we also have brand new GCW Tag Team Champions, Mad Dog Dan Sawyer and Leon the Bull Stresser. Mad Justice picking up the championships last night in a 3-way elimination match against #Trending Now and the Brotherhood. Trending Now eliminated first. Came down to... Look, I'll tell you something. Trending Now, I cannot sell them short. They gave a tremendous account for themselves last night in the match. There's wrong place, wrong time, and it cost them. But they are also going to be back into consideration for a tag team title match in the near future. And then the Brotherhood and Mad Justice just absolutely tore it up. But congratulations to Dan Sawyer and Leon Stresser picking up the World Tag Team Championships last night. From there, I'm going to go ahead and throw this one out because this Saturday, Peach State Wrestling Alliance returns to action. The Quest to be the Best tournament resumes this Saturday night, April 2nd. in Carrollton, Georgia, at the historic VFW Fairgrounds. There we go. Second round matchups are going to be taking place. Actually, second round matchup, Jimmy Rave taking on CB Suave. And in a first round matchup that did not take place 2 weeks ago, it will take place this Saturday. Romeo taking on Kyle Matthews, and this is going to be a match of the year candidate. I guarantee you that. 6-man street fight, the Backbone, the Beautiful Bald Besties, and Drew Adler taking on Team PWA. Shane Knowles, Nigel Sherrod, and the No Limits champion Kevin Blue. And, of course, the Necessary Evil, the Wicked Nemesis, will be backing up Shane Knowles and Nigel Sherrod in a match where I will tell you, do not blink. Stitch Cypher will be taking on the Mexican rock star Vadi Morales. You got more matches being signed. We're going to have updates this week on Back to Basics as well as the Shooters Gallery. We're going to reconfirm that Thursday will probably be the night that we pick for a run on Shooters Gallery for right now, and we're going to take it from there. So for our friends in eastern Alabama and western Georgia, Carrollton, this Saturday, the place to be. Doors at 7, bell time 8 o'clock p.m. Check out PeachStateWrestlingAlliance.com. And right now, because of WrestleMania week, the whole station is in a jumble. So I am going to have updates on our social media sites, letting everybody know what we're doing throughout the course of the week. Back to Basics will be back Tuesday at its regular time, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Probably going to do a damn marathon. To be determined Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. More than likely, Shooters Gallery Thursday, and we're going to work it out from there. I'll be done with my panic attack by next Monday. I may take another damn day off. I'm taking tomorrow off and go see Batman v Superman.
You better, because we got to be able to talk about it more in depth very soon.
Okay.
Well, what you do is, if you're already taking the day off, why don't you go see Deadpool before you go see Batman v Superman?
A double feature.
Because I already have plans with my father. I have a meeting with my pastor, and I've got to be back here tomorrow night to take care of a friend of mine who is working on an audiobook. So I can fit one movie in. I can't fit more than one movie.
It's a good family movie.
Which one?
Deadpool.
Deadpool? Oh, yeah, especially if your last name is Manson.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever wondered how many...
My wife.
If you ever wondered how many bad words you can teach your kids, take them to Deadpool.
No, if you ever wonder how many words you can...
There was a couple kids there tonight. I went to see it, and it was like, ooh.
No, if you ever wonder how many bad words you can teach your kids, tune in Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, for the To Be Determined show. Or check out the Midnight Black Mass when it returns next week.
Wow.
What? You know it's true. They're both uncensored.
That's true. They're both not for the faint of heart.
There you go.
Uncut. We love you, Reverend
Dan.
Dan.
And they're Beyond Ringside Radio Networks.
That's right.
Let's take it home, my friends.
All right. Well, Brian Taylor can be
found
on social media, on Twitter, at STRCP21. He has gone ahead and bowed out. He's enjoying the remainder of his vacation. Hope you have a great time, Brian. We'll catch up with you later during the week. Don't worry, I'll take care of your house as best I can. He's found on Facebook, Brian Taylor, and he is not on Instagram anymore. Apparently people were sending him bad pictures. How dare you? Rob, where can I find you on social media, sir?
The same place they did last week. No, on Facebook it's Rob Hefner. On Twitter it's at Rob Hefner. I'm really original. On Instagram it's RDHWP. And yeah, if you have money, you can send to my friends call me Cash.
Cash is king.
This is the week everybody's anticipated. Every wrestling fan around the world, from 8 to 80, blind, crippled, and crazy, is excited about WrestleMania week. But, as I said at the beginning of the show, for the first time, we're still going into WrestleMania on WrestleMania week, trying to figure out what is going on with WrestleMania. So we'll see. stay tuned, because whenever we come back, we will have a mouth full, let me tell you.
And I can be found on Twitter at Stan from Krypton.
Boo.
The show account can be found at C2C Radio Show. We have adjusted for the Twitter account for the show. Trying to keep it a little simple, but also trying to make it easier to find. Grateful to be increasing our follower count. Thank you to each and every one of you. So find us on Twitter at the C2C Radio Show. That's C, the number 2, C Radio Show. Also...
That hurts Stan's ego.
Why does that hurt mine?
It hurts Stan's ego because he had to get rid of corner, the number 2 corner, SG.
Consolation, we still have corner 2 corner RH.
Hey, I'm not complaining. I just don't.
And it's still getting new followers too. That's our alternate account, by the way. We can't have a couple in there just in case. In case, I don't know, people want to see the other account that we don't.
Some of the new followers need to get a job.
Yeah, there's some scary stuff on the.
And a job that involves sending pictures.
Yeah. Some of the Twitter followers that we have seen recently, y'all need Jesus. That's all I can say.
Well, it is Resurrection Day.
I saw this shirt. Around Christmas time. It said, "Hey, I've seen your Facebook page. I'm sending you a Bible and clothes for Christmas."
Some of the selfies that are out there are a little bit unsavory as well. That's true. So, you know what, folks? Definitely thank you so much for letting us have the privilege of your time. We appreciate every listener and every download. Of course, you can find the show's website, cornertocornerwrestling.com. Still under construction, but it has been updated a little bit nicer and neater format. We may change it up a little bit more.
And it no longer contains stolen graphics.
That is correct, sir. We did remove the testing background.
Don't say we. You stole Eddie's graphics. Don't be bringing me in this lawsuit.
But Rob, it was your idea, didn't you? No, you didn't. Never mind.
I am a character witness for Beyond Ringside Radio Network. You're on your own.
Okay. Lord, I apologize. Starving pygmies down in New Guinea. Sorry, Eddie.
Eddie's like, will you all ever shut up so I can get off this radio show? Jesus.
We're driving him nuts.
And we haven't even let him say anything yet.
Well, then, because
it's
Rob
his show. It's his network.
It is.
I actually did cover everything a minute ago.
Well, where can they find you, sir, on social media?
FastEddieLane.com. Go to the website first.
Website first. Everything else after. All right. Well, we will be back here maybe on Sunday sometime. After that, we will certainly be joining you this Sunday following WrestleMania. Definitely be giving you our thoughts and opinions on that event. Lots to talk about. Looking forward to what they could possibly doing this coming Monday night. Maybe we'll see a change up. So for Rob Hefner,
yo,
he said it best.
Something else.
No, I think good. And for Brian Taylor, who's enjoying his vacation, and myself,
what's up?
And myself, Stan Grove. Hey, thank you so much. We will see you next time on Corner to Corner, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sunday nights. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time.